My brain went silent the second I went live. Literally, my brain's just like flatlined. 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 I get literally caught up reading my own comments and like watching the countdown, and then I'm like waiting for something to happen. That
You make it happen.
I know. Yeah. Welcome to the professional card making YouTube channel run by a professional. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Face, card making space, live, unscripted, unfiltered, pure chaos. Pure chaos. Chaos incarnate, as I like to say. And because it's Sunday, the unpaid intern's in the corner. He's going to help, and he might have to help a lot because, like, my brain went. I kind of have a plan. I'm winging it. We're going to see what happens today. It's going to be fun. It's fun. We actually have a sunny day. It's maybe sunny where you are. It ain't sunny here, man. It's raining and snowing.
Yeah.
Like, it's
right on the cusp of zero is what it is here.
Yep. We're not having good weather at all because rain this time of year. We already had rain, what was that, a week ago?
Yeah, so it froze to
something,
the
and then we had a 10 degrees Celsius day, which is beautiful, wonderful. Not good. We had foot-high ice ridges because it froze that night.
It was crazy.
Oh, y'all. It's been chaotic. Like, people getting stuck in front of their house, like, not able to get out. I've been just stressed with everyone needing to come and go, all of it. Anyway, everything's great. So, yeah, it's raining and snowing here in our part of Saskatchewan, and so...
Yeah. It is a very, very strange winter for everyone, it seems.
Yeah, it's all over the place. I'm just, as usual, this time of year, I'm just over it. I'm over it, but it is Saskatchewan. Winter's going to be here till like May.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we're supposed to get another stretch of like warm weather, and it's like, yay. And I was like, nah, and then we get a blizzard. It is what it is. Anyway, it's nice to be inside, and we're going to craft, and it's going to be good. So, and like I said, I'm sort of flying by the seat of my pants. I kind of have a supply list. It's linked. It's below the video. It's in the pin to the live chat at the top. And then the unpaid intern, if needed, will add more depending on where this goes. Because like I said, I have a rough idea of what I want to do. I had a whole other thing planned out. And then just right before I went live, I was like, nope, I'm going to do something else. And just welcome to ADHD. That's, Anyway. Oh, I think everything will be good. Everything will be good. Everything's good. Everything's good. We're going to craft and make fun things. And apparently when I was cleaning all day yesterday, Tim Holtz was live.
Was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you were listening to your K-pop.
I was listening to my music. I totally spaced. And then I was like, stuff was popping on my feed later. And I was like, at the bare minimum, I could have had that on while I was cleaning out. I was decluttering, y'all. I got a lot accomplished, but I missed that whole live, and that would have been inspiring. So I'm going to watch that later. Anyway, do I have any housekeeping? I don't think so. Yeah, supplies are listed. Worth checking out my sales page. I think there's still stuff on sale. Let me double check. Let me make sure everything's working. Yes, worth checking out my sales link in the Simon sales link, that one. There's some deals to be had. Quite a few, in fact. Quite a few, because I assume they added more because of Tim's live yesterday. So, yeah, he put it in the chat. So there's that, because I am going to be using Tim Holtz oldie but goodie that I haven't used in a while, and it's a favorite. So, yeah, I'm gonna watch on replay. It's always worth watching Tim Holtz, especially when he's doing just for funsies and just being creative and the ideas get rolling, that kind of stuff. Like, I'm legit sad that I kind of forgot yesterday was Saturday. I was really buried in a closet, no word of a lie, just cleaning and dusting and decluttering, and
it's much better organized now.
It better be for the amount of work I put into it. So anyway. So yeah, some good deals to be had. And let's just flip the camera down because, like I said, I don't think I have any other. Yeah, I have no other housekeeping. Let's just get into it, my friends. Yep. Okay. So long as everything's still working, because that's all part of it too. I had said that in the chat before I went live, like, oh, check to make sure my cameras worked. I did, but I didn't actually make sure that I was working in the software. But so far, so good. So far, so good. Okay. Did you see the Simon Says class on Friday? I did. I was watching a chunk of it while I was like editing and doing other things. And yeah, a lot of what was used in that class on Friday is in that sale category. So for those wanting to catch up, lots. That was a monster of a live stream / class because it was 3 or 4 hours, something like that. Worth checking out. It's on the Simon YouTube channel for replay. And yeah, so what I'm planning on using today. This fabulous set that came out a couple years ago. I forget exactly when. This is the Floral Outlines set from Tim Holtz and Stampers Anonymous. And it is beautiful. And somebody's attempting the roads in this. Let them. Anyway, I did a video on this forever ago. And I forgot to link to it. So maybe the unpaid intern can look it up.
Which one?
Look up, if you search my YouTube channel, I can't remember if I named it Floral Outlines. It's also linked in the, Simon actually linked to it in their listing of the coordinating die sets. Search Floral Outlines. See if it comes up. If not, I'll link to it in the description box and I'll put it in the end screen when this live's over and I can, edit all things. So anyway, I chose this one.
So I can't see it in there.
It'll be like search messy, just messy. That'd be me. Just, just a picture of my face. Messy. Scroll. No, it'll be, you'll have to scroll down because I've done a lot of messy watercolor cards. That one with the purple banner. One up. That one. That's the one using the same stamp set. So he'll link to it in the chat, and then when this is over, I'll put it in the end screen when I can do. So anyway, I have the stamp, and I have, kind of a idea. First off, do I want to do my background first, or does it matter? I don't know if it really matters. Yeah, we'll do the background first. Why not? Why not? So we're going to use this. We'll just set them right there for now. You'll just sit right there. And I'm not using this. I'm going to use distress watercolor paper. Just basic distress watercolor paper. And then I'm going to use, which I used in a live a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago now, 3 weeks, something, somewhere, whenever. I used it not too long ago. The Heart Wreath embossing folder. Just to add a little something. I'm actually going to do something very similar with the background as last time, kind of, not really. Y'all, sometimes trying to explain the randomness that's like popping up in my head. Let's be honest. Okay, so I want the debossed side. So with your embossing folders, this applies to just about any embossing folders. The only exception, I guess, would be some of the Tim Holtz embossing folders, because his are like crazy intricate, very, very, very detailed. But with a lot of them, there is the raised side. And the raised side, you can just barely see it there. The image is raised up. So this is what I would call the back of the embossing folder. Because you put your cardstock in, it's going to press up. You're going to have your raised image. So this is the back. And this would be the front. So usually when I do get around to like labeling my embossing folders, I usually put the label on what's the front, which is the side with the image like pressed in, debossed. However, I want my finished thing to be debossed, and I want the smooth side of this watercolor paper facing up. So what I'm going to do is flip my embossing folder over. So this is my smooth side. This is the part of the embossing folder with the raised edge. So now it's going to press into the front. And I'm going to center this where I want it. I would say right about there. This is an A2 panel, by the way, of the watercolor paper. I like this stuff. 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. Convenient. So I'm going to like center it. See where I want it. That looks good. Close my folder. And then I'm going to run this through with my Empress, which I have. There we go. There's my shim for the Empress. And specifically, Simon Says Stamp embossing folders, which is just one cutting plate and the folder. If you find with your Anagraph and Empress machine and Simon's embossing folders, because again, it varies. All embossing folders are different by brand within reason. Some are similar. But if you find that for your machine and these embossing folders, you're not getting enough of an impression, you could add the metal shim. Always start low. Like start with kind of what's recommended. And then if you find it's not enough, then add. You never want to force something through your die cut machine, regardless of what machine you're using. Do not force it through. If it's like, if you can't crank that handle, or if it's an electric machine and it's not taking it, back away. Because if you try to force it through and it doesn't want whatever you've got piled up, you'll break your machine. And the last thing you want is to break an expensive die cut machine. So I usually just use one cutting plate and the folder. And if I feel I need more, then I'll add my metal shim. These use the just watercolor paper due to convenience versus the Canson you sometimes use. I actually chose it, like, got me back to my face. I chose, there we go. So I'll get to that in a second. But there it is. So this is the smooth side, and the embossing is pressed in. So the raised, as beautiful as it is going to be, this is the back now. Boop. So why did I choose distress watercolor paper? Because I'm going to use distress oxide inks today. Yeah. It's personal preference. Also, specifically with embossing folders, if I want to emboss like a watercolor paper, I try to find one that's slightly thinner. This is a decent weight. Does it say on here? Yeah, 118 pound. Like this is a decent weight, the Ranger Distress watercolor paper. It's not flimsy. Canson XL that I use a lot is like 140 pound. Like it is heavyweight. And I get a little iffy with trying to use super heavyweight papers. I know other makers have done it. And I was just saying about trying to force sandwiches through, keep that in mind too. That if you're trying to use something really heavyweight, like 140 pound watercolor, something that's thick, just keep that in mind, that it might make your sandwich too thick, etc. And yeah, so we shall see. As for the ads, y'all, I have no control. I have my live streams. It varies. It is not a blanket thing across YouTube because it depends on the maker and what their options are. I have my live streams set to no ads during the live, and then I have to go in because it's supposed to be manual and I'm supposed to be able to choose things. But once the live is over and YouTube processes it, YouTube's like, oh yeah, they want ads every 2 minutes. That's normal. Let's give them an ad 1 minute in, and then every 2 minutes, ad. I'm not even kidding. Every live stream, they put on like 50 plus ads after it, and I go and delete most of them because it's pure insanity. And it is my job, and I make a cut of that, and I need the monies. But I'm also not a complete and total psychopath, unlike the YouTube algorithm. Because, yeah. And yeah, I set that, but it will still play. It depends on your region. Depends on whatever robot's pushing the buttons behind the scenes. Because...
And if you're from Albania, you never get an ad at all.
We're not moving to Albania, okay?
Nope, I
Yeah,
know.
they don't have ads, but it is what it is. But anyway, I have no control over it. So it's all the craziness in a nutshell. Okay, the other thing about distressed watercolor paper, because I get asked this a lot, watercolor paper, it varies, all of it. I'm not going to go deep into like watercolor paper. Distressed watercolor paper is one of the whitest, because for some people that's very, very important. I encourage those that just, it's like, it needs to be like super white, to try and let go of that. Most watercolor paper is not white because it is cotton. It's usually unbleached and it's fine. It's fine. It works great. Distressed watercolor paper is not, I'm pretty sure there's no cotton in this. I think it is just paper pulp. That said, I do genuinely like this stuff. I wouldn't use it otherwise, but I really like it with distressed products. So distressed inks and oxides and all those things. It works really nicely with that. It's worth having, you know, especially for the techniques and that kind of stuff, because it does. It's made to work very well with distressed products. But yeah, and it is like, it's white. It's white. So anyway, we got the background so far. What I want to do is add some text to it because I can. So this is where it's a little similar, but when I use this in a live stream, again, a couple weeks ago, whenever it was a while ago, I used this stamp. This is the Words of Love little. Not blaming you for the odds. I just thought, yeah, oh no, some people do blame me, you know, is what it is. But yeah, I don't have control, y'all. They give us the illusion of control is basically how it all works. It's very frustrating. Anyway, so I got my little background stamp, and it's kind of large. Nothing wrong with a good old text background. And I'm just going to kind of center it over that heart. This is what I did similarly, but this time I'm going to keep the color lighter. That's the plan. So, got my stamp lined up, and I'm going to ink it up with, let's start with Tattered Rose, Distress Oxide ink. I grabbed colors at sort of random. Like, there is some method to the madness. I just did not fully plan out things. Is there an air bubble in there? I think there is. I did not fully plan out things today. Not like I ever do with my lives. I get asked that too. Like, do you plan like everything? I was like, if you've watched me for any length of time, do I look like I'm, with it and have my life together and super plan? Y'all, I'm flying by the seat of my pants 99% of the time. It is chaos. It is chaos.
Just like the Joker when he takes his mask off and says, "Do I look like I'm the guy that has a plan?"
Do I look like that? Yeah, I am like the Joker. Do I look like the guy that has a plan? Yeah, that's me. I'm the Joker of the card making industry. Like, that's just, I really am.
But the Heath Ledger Joker.
Oh, Heath Ledger's Joker was, but like that's a different level of chaos. That's a level of chaos I aspire to be. Honestly, he was my favorite Joker. He would have been. He was phenomenal in that movie. Okay, so we got that. Is a Canson XL watercolor paper white? Nope. Most are not, and I'm fine with it. I know there are options out there with higher end watercolor papers that have been bleached to be more white. Fabriano Artistico makes one. I have a pack of it. Never used it. I hoard the good stuff, and I know. I like what I do with everything and tell everyone, do as I say, not as I do. Use the things. Enjoy the things. Don't listen to Amy when she's like, I hoard my watercolor paper. But I do. The fancy stuff, I do. I hoard it. And I use my Distress and my Canson and my cheapo Strathmore and I get his card making. Anyway, I've stamped that. What I also want to do is where is, do I want to do it on distress? Yeah, let's just do it on distress. I'm going to heat emboss and we'll come back to it. But while I have everything like here, because I got to take this out to stamp the floral that we want to use. So we have that. We'll come back to it in a second. We're going to line up another piece of this just distress. And I'm going to use my anti-static powder tool because I'm going to heat emboss this onto this panel that I'm going to like die cut later. There we go. So anti-static powder. And then we'll just do probably white. And then my heat tool always helps to have that ready to go. Okay, and then you ever play Danny DeVito would have been great Joker. Danny DeVito was good as a penguin. Like if you're going for more humor, yes, but the Joker, well, yeah. Again, Chris and I was like geeking out over that. Christopher Nolan is a phenomenal filmmaker. The Dark Knight is one of my favorite movies. I was just floored, I say. But that was the cinematography, and then yeah, Heath Ledger, and what's his face? What's his face? Batman. Who played Batman in that one?
Which one? Nolan?
The Dark Knight. Christian Bale.
Yeah, Bale.
I like him too. So yeah, good movies, good times, good movies. So stamped it with clear embossing ink. Putting on some white embossing powder. This does not, none of this needs to be perfect because of course we're going to add other stuff. There's going to be ink. There's going to be splatter. There's going to be fun things. I just need that on there. Okay. And then let's put the lid on that embossing powder. I will come back because I'm probably going to use clear for my floral. Okay. And then we'll melt this with my heat tool. Okay. I always love when it can show up on camera when it's melting. I don't know why. I love melting embossing powder. It's usually one of those first like magical things you do as a card maker, and it's like so exciting. It's so fun. Especially metallics. Like white is fun too, clear is fun, but like metallic embossing powder when it melts, ugh, love. Okay. And then you tilt it in the light. Make sure it's shiny, not dull. There's one. Wonder if I'll be able to show it. See, there we go. See how it's all shiny and reflective, except for right there? That's what I talk about when I'm like, I tilt it in the light to make sure it's all melted. And it's shiny and reflective. And the spots that aren't, like right there, they're not melted. So you just hit that with the heat tool. There we go. There we go. And now it's all melted. So there's starting to build the background. And then while I've got my Misty out, let's get this guy out of here for the moment. Or did I lie? Do I want to add this to the inside of my card as well? Let's get her done. Let's get her done, folks. We'll add this to the inside of the card while we're at it. While we're at it, we will stamp, even though I already took it off, but it's not going to matter. We'll stamp him on the inside too, because, you know, the inside needs something. For this, instead of using Oxide ink, though, I'm going to grab Tattered Rose Distress ink. I'll explain in a second. So, when I'm doing the insides, of my cards. I don't mind a little bit of oxide ink, like if I was just stamping sentiment or stamping something here or here, or whatever. You know, it doesn't really matter. But when I'm stamping or using a stencil, whatever, on the inside of my cards, I have found that because oxide inks have pigments in them, pigments sit on top of the cardstock, it gets really annoying when it comes time to write because my pen will catch on that pigment. It's annoying. So if I can avoid it, I do. So I'm just going to use the same color, just in distress ink. So then I won't be annoyed when it comes time to write to the recipient, which that'll be whoever wins this card. I have that, right? I had the form, I linked it. Yeah, I did that right before we went live. That's why I was like 2 minutes late. So, yeah, there's usually a method to my madness. Would it really make a massive difference if I stamped this with oxide ink? Maybe not, but, you know, might as well. Might as well. So, Tattered Rose. And then just to give an idea too, because dye ink, a little more intense. Oxides, because of the pigments and the white base, etc., they are a little bit lighter, you know? It's just fun. It's all fun. And again, the insides never need to be perfect. Like, they're just extra. Okay. There we go. Yeah, heat embossing is the best. The best. Splatter, really? Yes. I know, right? Shocking. Amy likes splatter. The fact that I'm getting known by that, like for that, is amusing to me. I don't know why. I don't know why. It just is. Huh?
Makes sense to me.
Well, I do. I do enjoy it. It's fun. Okay. Now to our, like, pièce de résistance. Because this is a red rubber cling foam stamp, I need to take my grip mat out of my Misty. Now, do you need grip mats, all these add-ons? No, you don't. The Misty's great as it is. It comes with a foam insert and some little papers, whatever. And if that's what you got, you would just take the foam insert out of here to use red rubber cling stamps. I just have all the extras and add-ons because they're convenient. They're convenient. So, that and yet another piece of distressed watercolor paper. Like so. And again, I'm going to stamp on the smooth side. And this we can actually just butt up into the corner because I don't need to like stamp off the edge or anything like that. And this one, just making sure I got enough space. There we go. This guy we're going to heat emboss as well, but this time I'm going to stamp this with black ink. I probably need to unclog my, or give it a good, there you go. Sometimes you just need to give it a good smack. Yep. So, anti-static powder. And then one of my favorites, Nocturne pigment ink. And then clear embossing powder. Ink this guy up with the Nocturne. Doop doop. Just making sure I get good coverage. He's butted up in the corner. I got a mess. And then we stamp him. Beautimous. Just beautimous. There we go. And just because I like being extra, let's just ink it up and stamp it a second time. Not that it really needs it, but I mean, it's sitting here. Why not? There we go. Do you have a video? I do not own any of the Greeteries products. They're beautiful. Their stuff pops up on my feed quite often. But I do not have any of it, so I do not have any videos using their products. But again, I need more hours in the day, I need more days in the week, and I need a bigger budget You know, still waiting on we're still waiting on that sugar daddy that's going to give me large sums of money in exchange for my very winning chaotic personality. You know, a girl can dream. Okay, clear embossing powder. So Nocturne ink, clear embossing powder. And then you just melt it, and that'll give some raised edges, which with an image like this, I don't need the raised edges as much because I talk about this when it comes to watercolor. I like having the raised edges because they're sort of, I'm just making sure I missed a spot, because they're sort of like bumper pads, and they keep things a little more contained. There we go. There we go. Because I'm heavy-handed. It's also nice when you're learning to watercolor to have those raised edges to keep sections contained. However, an image like this, there's a lot of openings. You know, it's very scribbly. It's very overwhelming to some, but this is going to be easy watercolor. Trust me. I did this, though, with the heat embossing because I'm going to watercolor with distress oxide inks. And like I was saying, oxide inks have pigment in them. And those pigments can sit on top of the stamp lines. And sometimes it just doesn't look as pretty. So by heat embossing it, it'll resist those pigments and not obscure the image. Okay. So we're just going to wipe that guy down for now. Actually, no, I'm going to clean him just because I would rather he be clean because I'm not sure if I'm going to stamp him on the inside of the card. And if I do, crap, I forgot to get this wet before we went live. Let's spray this with some water. I've noticed that I really like the sound of a stamp head inking up a stamp. Can't explain why. Some of the sounds are just nice. Like, that's sort of ASMR sort of a thing. I'm not big into that per se, but there are some sounds that I'm just like yes, the tapping of the ink pad. It's always been a nice sound. Like, really. That's definitely one where if a person didn't like that sound and they made cards, like that would not be a fun time, you know? Whereas other sounds, like the squeaky of a stamp chamois against stamps at times, can be not so pleasant. Anyway, okay. This guy is now clean, which is what I want. Because if I want to stamp him on the inside, I would stamp it with a color ink or something. We'll see. I most likely won't. But at least he's clean, and that's all that matters. Okay. We'll do that. There's my grip. I was like, where's my grip mat? I already lost it. Okay. So put my grip mat back on Misty so that I don't lose it. Set Misty aside. And we have that. We have that. And we have our background, because this is going to get die cut. And we have the other panel that I heat embossed. We're going to go back to this for a minute. Yeah, I do want to add this. So, actually, let's bring this back. Just so I've got a convenient little grip mat to hold my stencil in place. This is the, I don't even remember the name of the stencil. It's listed. Lattice something. Lattice. There we go. That's the Lattice stencil. So, gonna use that with the Oxide ink. And a blending brush. I generally also prefer using like blending foams with oxides and like pigment inks in general. However, this will be fine. I just want to add a little bit to this. I'm not going to go over this entire thing because if I did that with the same color ink, as what I stamped, it's just gonna like blend it all into nothing. But I just wanted to add just a bit with a light hand so that it's not super intense, but we'll get a bit of the pattern, which always looks a little sus at first. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know? Okay. Trust the process. Or don't. You know? I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just here. You know? I'm just here. Mm-hmm. A bit more. A little bit more. Okay. There we go. Got that. It's working. It's working. So we got that. And then also wipe this off. Doop, doop, doop. And then for this panel, my plan was to die cut it with the wafer die that I had out there. There we go. I have a little heart wafer die from the, is it just called Basic Hearts? I think it's called Basic Hearts. I have it, but it's upside down. Yeah, just does it. There's a bunch. The biggest one's enormous. Just FYI, the biggest one is literally huge. The biggest heart in this set is 5.5 inches wide by just under 5 inches tall. Just to give you an idea of the size of the set. So I pulled out a heart and we're just gonna kind of center it here. Again, it doesn't need to be perfect. I was just kind of hoping to sort of line up the words, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter. Once everything's added, it's not really gonna matter. But sometimes I get a little OCD with things, you know? You know? Okay. So we're gonna die cut that guy. And then don't need that. Put that die back with packaging or close enough. What have you. Yes. And then this guy I wanted to add the Tattered Rose Oxide ink to. And because we white heat embossed the background, that ink is going to resist the ink I'm placing on here. You can just take a tissue, you can take a cloth, and you just wipe it off. Because again, with oxides, it's sitting on top, but then you just buff it. And it's like magic. It's like magic. And then because Amy's feeling extra, where's my ink smushing sleeve? There we go. There we go. Oh, I'm planning on making a big old mess. Okay. You can do ink smushing a million ways. It doesn't matter. What I recommend, and I've shown this, is using either, I've got like, you know, an ink smushing sleeve. You could use the non-stick craft sheet. You can kind of use anything. The thing to remember, and I did show this, we talked about this in a live, I forget when, it was a while ago. But I did a comparison showing like smushing ink on glass versus smushing ink on like a non-stick craft sheet, etc. Because surface matters. It literally does, and I'll show it. So I got a non-stick craft sheet. This is the one meant for the Tim Holtz travel size glass mat. It's got like rubber corners, but there's other like variations of this. And when you smush your ink on it, just doesn't look like much. And then when you smush your ink on glass, same thing. Doesn't look like much at first. The magic is when you add water. There's my little spray bottle. So on a nonstick craft sheet, when you spray it with water, and it's hard to see with such light color, but when I kind of tilt it up there, you can see it bubbles up. You get all the little dots and texture. And that's what gives ink smushing, makes it look so fabulous, is all those little blobbies. Glass does not do that. Different surface. When you spray water, it just pools. Neither is wrong. Surface matters though. If you want more texture and splotchy, that's why nonstick craft sheet, something like my little ink smushing sleeve, which is a storage pocket from Simon Says Stamp. Because yeah, on glass, it just pools and you don't get that dotty effect. Surface matters. So rather than, I was going to use my sleeve, I'll just use this. We're just going to add some splotchy bits to my little die cut heart because we can. Because we can. Boop. There we go. And then I'm going to heat in between. Because again, as the Tim Holtz parrot I am, all of this is just basic layering concepts. Wet on wet, blends, wet on dry, layers. So if you want more texture, more layers, more depth, dry in between. And if you're wondering why sometimes your backgrounds is just one blob of nothing, one, potentially not drying between the layers, or things like this, your surface. Yeah, see, we got like texture. And this is going to be subtle because I'm using Tattered Rose, which is a very light color. But that was kind of the point. I didn't want it to compete with everything else. So right now we got that, just a bit of texture, and I can still go in and add a little bit more, just for funsies, like that, and like that, and then dry that as well. And if you've never done ink smushing before, but you're curious and you want to, distress inks and distress oxides are like the top tier, literally gold tier for ink smushing techniques, etc. It's the way they're formulated. You can do it with a lot of inks. If an ink is water reactive, you can do ink smushing with it, watercolor, all of it. I've done all of it, a million videos, all the things. But if you've got some oxides or some distress inks, highly recommend it. And if you're new and you've never done it before, I would recommend just playing with it with just one color, like this, like layer up one color, do your ink smushing. And then the more comfortable you get with it, 2 colors, 3 colors, 4 colors, have fun with it. You just got to remember that you can end up creating mud, if you're mixing a bunch of colors together, but you don't know till you try it. Okay. That's enough for that one. You've got some nice texture to him without being totally crazy. Okay, so we got that. And then I can just wipe that up. I can wipe this up. I'm not worried about it. We're done on the ink smushing. And then just because, actually, no, did I lie? I lied. I want ink smushing on my background. I can do what I want. It's my channel. Let's add some to this too, because it's fun. There he is. There's my Tattered Rose. So we'll add a little bit of that. spray it with some water, and then we're just going in. And it gives that splattery texture that I just love. Henry, you can always hold your piece, your die cut piece or whatever it is, with like a clothespin. There's a little clothespin. There's those little hot hands, they're called, that Simon Says Stamp and Ranger sells. I've got asbestos hands. This is what happens when you get to play with, you have a hot glue gun in your room as a kid. And I'm up at midnight, hot gluing things, building Barbie furniture with cardboard and hot glue. You burn off enough of your hand skin, and you just get used to it. So yeah, even though I'm doing this, I don't recommend it to everybody. I do recommend the holding your pieces up that you're drying and heat embossing. Leaving them sitting on a surface, there's nowhere for the air to flow, and moisture gets trapped between your cardstock and whatever surface, and especially make sure your surface is heat resistant. But if you are not allowing the air to flow, it takes a lot longer for things to dry. Just another random little tip-a-roondy there. Okay. Sounds like you had an awesome childhood. Yeah, not so much. I spend a lot of time by myself. And yeah. That's just, it was not, it had good moments here and there. But in the scheme of things, no. Not so much. But I did have it wasn't my hot glue gun. I took the hot glue gun. And yeah, I always loved to craft and make things, and I was very much a night owl. So yeah, just adding a few more little speckly bits to this background. Not a ton. And because, of course, all of that I was doing, what I stenciled was done in the same, like, Oxide ink. What I stamped, Oxide ink. I did all this with one ink. I did 3 different things, I guess, with the same ink. That wasn't my plan. It just developed. So there's like 3 ways to use Oxide inks. You can stamp with them, stencil with them, ink smush with them. I did all that with just one color of ink to get just texture, and you could do this with whatever color. I wanted something a little bit lighter, so everything else will kind of pop. So yeah, we're good. I could add more layers. I could keep going, but I'm kind of good with where we're at. Season my hands using wood fire pizza oven and my nose from making handmade soap for years. Yeah, I made soap at one point too. Like working with lye. Some of the things. Let alone, actually, you and I were talking about that, and you most likely searing your insides when you used to develop photos with all the photochemicals.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Which, yeah, the unpaid intern doesn't consider himself crafty or artistic or anything, but he used to work as a photo developer.
Yep.
He knows some things. Which, I knocked stuff over. Oh, I need that. That's my splatter. Speaking of which, because it's enough years ago, for those that remember, in the Saskatoon, Saskatchewan area, he actually used to work in the photo department at Superstore, and it was above the shopping area. For those that might remember, they had a glass floor in the photo department suspended in the air. So you'd walk in and do your shopping, and then they all worked. And I always used to think that was so cool. And I still talk about it. And I was like, maybe there was times where I was shopping there and you noticed me or something. Who knows? But yeah, he used to work there. a lifetime ago, and they no longer
Very
have
long
that, which
time.
is like sad. So yeah, this is what we've got so far.
There were a lot of weirdos that worked there.
Oh, I'm sure. You being one of them, because
I
you're a
was
weirdo.
one of
We're
them.
all weirdos, but yeah, he.
They tied me to a chair one night.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. But yeah, so far we have this. We have texture and color, and oh, he's crafty adjacent. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. And my thing always, like everyone is creative. Everyone. Even those that are like so out of it's like you do. You just everyone has it in a different way. Everyone expresses it in a different way. And even those that are just like, no, I'm not creative. It's like you are. You just haven't found what it is yet. You know? Because yeah, everybody is. Like, yeah, that's my randomness. Okay. So we got this. And then who what now? We met at a pride parade.
Yep.
We met at a pride parade. 2 cis white hetero, which is always funny. We technically met online, but like in person, our very first meeting was at a pride parade. I need. Okay. Other thing I want to do. Ooh, this one's a little bit. This brush is a little crusty. I don't know if I'm gonna. There's my cloth. I wonder if I'm gonna even be able to use this guy. So we have that, and ooh, this brush is not gonna play nice. I will need to deal with that later. This one, this one might work. I want to add just a little bit more to this. This will make sense in a second. Great, neat, cute. I know, right? It was a very. It feels like forever ago now. There we go. Okay, I just grabbed another blending brush, and it had some very dark orange ink on it, which I definitely do not want. And I do not clean my brushes, as I've mentioned many times. Some have forgotten how to play. Oh yeah, I think a lot of people just, and I think for a lot of people, when they hear the word craft or crafting, their brains immediately go to like grandma knitting or something, like just they go in a weird place, and it's like there's so much more to it. Crafting and art, there's a million things, and it always fascinates me how some people choose to develop it. Okay, so don't clean my brushes. I just rub them on a microfiber cloth because I can't be bothered. And then what I'll do is just take a scrap piece of copy paper, and then oh yeah, we're good. We're good. So now I'm using the dye ink because, like I said, the dye ink is a little more intense. I'm not gonna cover this because I love that texture. I just want to add a little bit more of this color without totally obscuring the splotchy texture I created. And that's good. That's good. That's all I want. That'll do. And I can take my tissue again and just quickly buff over and remove any of that ink sitting on top of the embossing. So then we have that. They're missing out on so much joy. Oh yeah. So many people just everyone needs to have some form of creative outlet, whether it's card making or scrapbooking or knitting or crocheting or photography. I go on and on and on and on and on and on. It. Yeah. The people that build model train scenery.
Yeah.
Like
Those
that's
people,
crafting,
yeah.
very artistic, fascinating. Really, people that build little miniatures and do all those that's crafting. That's artistic. It's awesome. Love it so much. Anyway. There's our pretty little background. Now we can do the actual watercoloring, which, again, gonna be easy. Very easy. We're gonna use this color. And we're gonna use that color. And yeah, we'll start with that. Okay. So I've done a bajillion videos showing watercolors, specifically with oxides. You can do this with distress inks. They watercolor beautifully. Done a million videos doing that. You can use almost any water reactive ink to watercolor with. I've done videos using Simon's The Stamp Positively Saturated inks, Simon's Rainbow Splash inks, Altenew Fresh Dye inks, Concord and Ninth inks. There's other inks out there. I name those ones because those are the ones I personally own, have used, and done videos on. But most inks, if they are water reactive, you can watercolor with. You can also use traditional watercolors, watercolor pencils, pans. There's a million options. A million options out there. I gravitate and jump between everything because I get bored, ADHD, and it is what it is. But with oxides, because that was just what the mood I was in today, I just take my little ink pad, smush a little bit onto a non-porous surface. I could do it right on my glass. The only reason I don't do it right on the glass is because, as you saw when I sprayed with water, it starts to pool, and I get my elbow in it. You know, this is something I can lift and move around if I need to. So smush a little bit of ink. So I have the Tattered Rose. Let's do some worn lipstick because these two are very nice together. Very kind of pinky peachy sort of a look going on here. And then I've got some peeled paint. D&D's Creative Dungeons & Dragons. Oh, yeah. Speaking of, see, you're creative. I keep telling him that. He used to play D&D.
I used to DM D&D.
Were you were? That doesn't surprise me that you were a dungeon master. He's mentioned, it was funny, like many times he's mentioned, because I do, random side note, whatever. I have graphing paper. And like when I moved into this garage, or like, well, anything really, if I need to move specifically my office, but really anything, I will graph out the layout. I will build out and I'll measure to exacts and I will graph it out. And that's what I did when I had to move in the garage. I like measured the space, put it in to scale on graph paper, and then I had all my storage solutions, everything, and I put those, build it. And he was just like, "You'd be so good at Dungeons and Dragons, like building dungeons." I just kind of found that funny. Someday maybe it'd be fun to play. Yeah. Golden's. I don't know how they pronounce it. It's just Core, QOR. I've heard of them. I do not have any of those watercolors. I'm sure they're great. I own a ridiculous amount of watercolors because I like watercolors a lot. Those have always been on my list, but do I need them? No. Will I eventually probably own some? Yes. I'm sure I'll get them at some point. It is what it is. But yeah, they'd be good. I know, I've heard good things. I've never, honestly, most watercolor, you're good to go. You're good to go. I will say another little caveat. I've been seeing a lot of ads in my feeds of different watercolors lately, specifically watercolors, shimmery ones and opaque ones and different things. And I would just caution people to use a little bit of critical thinking when you see those, because there's just, they'll go through fate because they're doing like promotional blasts, and so much of that stuff is drop shipped. They'll be very obscure sort of names, like brand things I've never heard of. And I have been watercoloring for over a decade. I've been in the craft space for many decades. And I do the littlest bit of digging, and I realize this is all just drop ship product that you can get for significantly cheaper. That's where I encourage people to have critical thinking, because some of the palettes that just pop up on my feed, I'm just like, I check the prices and I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Because again, I have high-end watercolors. I've got some Sennelier, and I have Daniel Smith, etc., etc. Like, some of those you're paying for quality, but some of the stuff that's getting advertised that's just showing up in people's feeds, not quality, man. People are getting ugh. Anyway, okay, back to what we were doing. So, I do agree. Well, good. You see, y'all are my people. Y'all are my people. Yeah, core watercolors. Yeah, they're buying. Golden is a well-established brand that makes artist quality, like good quality products. You can't go wrong with Golden brand. I have the only thing of Golden I have, and I was gonna grab it, and now I don't know where I put it. I have a thing of Golden. It's a base. My brain stopped. Anyway, Golden makes good stuff. They make good stuff. Anywho, um, that's really cute. My husband is into Dungeons and Dragons. He was afraid to tell me when we first started dating. We've been together for 26 years. Love it. You know, nerds are the best, man. They're the best. Like, love it. Love it. Both of us, when we met, we made it pretty clear from the get go that we are nerds. He was like, hey, I'm a nerd. I was like, oh, me too. And then we met at the Pride Parade. So there was conversation in between there. But, you know, that's what we talked about was books and video games and mostly books. That's how he got me. That's how he got my attention, was talking about books. So yeah, I was like, oh, you want to talk books? Heck yeah, man. It's like, you want to get married? Anywho, okay. I'm using these again just because I did a video a couple days ago. The Altenew video. These are the newer little brush set from Altenew. Any brush will work for this. Again, those that get, you know, when you really start getting into watercolor, you know, you're really getting into it. You start knowing things. You start learning more things. Yeah. Brushes start to really play. I'm not comparing these right now. The quality of brushes comes into play, etc. That said, when you are starting and using a lot of what I show, it doesn't matter. I have done watercoloring with my Distress Oxides with like the cheapest brushes available, like the little Ranger pack. I can see it. I can't reach it because it'll make my camera shake and everything. But like that pack of Ranger little brushes is like less than $10, I think, and you get like 10 brushes. You get a bunch. It works great for my little bits of watercolor with oxides. I've got a little tonic set, same thing. It's like less than $10. You get a bunch. Like those are what I call like cheap brushes. They're cheap because it's like $1 a brush. They work fine. They work totally fine, especially for stuff like this. It's when you're getting deeper into watercolor. You're learning more and you're wanting to washes and backgrounds and all those things. That's when the type of brush you're using starts to make a big difference. But if you're wanting to just play and learn and you've got some little oxidings and different things, get a cheap pack of brushes, man. They work. Or the other one I use a lot that I've been using for years is my little Distress water brush. This little dude. I've used this in a million videos. He's great. Same thing. It's like, I think less than $10 for one of these. And convenience factor. I could use this today. These are new and shiny and I'm like, ew. And I've been liking them. So, all the things. Okay. I love the Ranger brushes. Yeah, they're great. It is, I have my same set of little Ranger brushes that I bought well over 10 years ago. It has to have been. I honestly don't even know how many years it's been. My little Ranger set, my little tonic set, I still have them. I still use them. And then there's the Zen, Royal Magnical Zen that I use. Those are very affordable, like a few bucks a piece. They're great. This Altenew set is a little bit up there, but it is a set of 4, 5, like 7 brushes, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, something like that. And so you get like a set in there. And I did a little review of them in that video 2 or 3 days ago. So I'm just going to use those. And I have my jar of water. And then I have just my little cloth off to the side to wipe. And again, this is going to be simple. Anyone can do this. cannot stress that enough. Anyone can do this. So I just take just water. And we'll just pick a spot and start. So I'm just gonna do. And I'm gonna go outside the lines because I don't care. I don't care. A little bit of messy watercolor never hurt anyone. So I can go like that, and then I can take my smaller brush, and I'm gonna start with the tattered rose and just drop it in. And I am not doing anything specific. You know, I'm not trying to create any sort of special, you know, a wash or a blend or anything. It's like just get that color on there. This is where, especially if you've never watercolored before and you want to, if you've got some Oxide inks, sit down and have a play. Because again, Oxide inks and any of our water reactive inks, but Oxides especially. Oxides are unique out of all of them because they do have the pigments, but the way they work with water, they just work. They just work. Like, that's it. Just like kind of slap that color on. And I can go back in, add a bit more. And this was why I heat embossed this image. Because like I said, oxides have pigments in them. And those pigments sit on top because they're too large to soak in like the dye portion of the ink does. And if I hadn't heat embossed this, with some of the colors, or depending on how many layers you do, etc., you just don't see the stamped lines as much. But because this was heat embossed, it resists that. It's just hopefully that makes sense. So I did a little bit of the tattered rose. Do I want to do all of them in tattered rose? I kind of do. I think I'm going to do all in tattered and then just add a bit of the worn lipstick just to keep this sort of simple. And an image like this, while yes, it looks intimidating because it's very sketchy. You know, it's not clearly defined, which for those of us that have been making cards for years, you know, that so many stamp sets, most of our images were very like clearly defined images. And then Tim Holtz comes out swinging and is just like, rah, here's this. It's actually kind of more fun. Images like this, being a little messy, being a little layered and a little bit chaotic, your eye then isn't drawn to a specific, like, oh, well, she went over the lines right there. You know, it's like, follow the style of the image. It's a little messy, it's a little chaotic. Let's be a little messy and chaotic. Can you see where I'm going here? So we'll just slap a little bit on there. And then while I'm at, I'll take some of the worn lipstick and we'll just kind of scritch it in. And then I wipe my brush off and I kind of just sort of let it blend a little bit. So then we got that more like a little bit of a peachy, pinky look, which I don't know why I've been obsessed with this color combo lately. Okay. So I already used up what I had there, so let's just smush some more onto my little palette. I'm just starting cross stitch. I like it. Oh yeah, cross stitch is fun. I've been getting back into cross stitching because I too like, it's like a pixel pattern, really. And there's so many now, like patterns out there that are so fun. Because when I was younger, I always found it because you like way back in the day when all you could get was like either kits or you had to buy stuff like in person. There wasn't really like an online presence. Yada yada. Like so much of the style back then, I was like, no, thank you. And now there's so many cute ones. So yeah, I'm currently working on one that's really twisted tarot cards. I'm making that for the unpaid intern.
They look amazing.
Because that's another one of his little random things is tarot cards.
They're so good at telling a story.
They are good, and it's another form of creativity, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's currently a project that I started back before the end of the year. And it's going to be a multi-year project because there's, is it 22 cards in the
Major
major arcana? Yeah, so there's 22 different patterns. And I've started one, and I have not finished it because I'm now like just obsessing over everything else. Yes, like see how I'm just scrolling on, going outside the lines a bit. I am still planning on, like, I am going to die cut this, but even if I wasn't, you can't go wrong with a bit of messy watercolor. Again, done many videos. In fact, when I used this, that video that the unpaid intern had linked to earlier, using this set, I'm pretty sure I had actually used oxides with it at that point as well. Okay. Oh, and then there's a little bud here. Yes. So we'll just add a little bit of water. And then we'll slap on some color. Add a little bit of the worn lipstick. And we're good. We're good. We'll just burp. I'm not even going to worry about that flower center. He's going to be just fine. Just fine. There we go. So there's that. And then I love the art of many different tarot card decks. Oh yeah. They're the art form of it all too. And yeah, the ones that I'm working on they're just fun. Very twisted. Okay. Now the greenery. So I chose 2 different colors because I've talked about this. When it comes to greenery, it's fun to have multiple colors, but also different styles. Again, we're not getting into like specifics. It's card making. Doesn't need to be specific. But having different shades of either greens, you can add blues to greens, obviously, etc., just breaks things up and creates a little more interest. There was something. Do you also use the re-inkers for watercolor? Yes. You can do all this with re-inkers. The thing you need to remember with re-inkers is that is a concentrated form of color. Because your re-inkers are meant to re-ink your ink pad. So if I was to just use my oxide re-inkers, which I've done videos. Done many videos. One, oxide re-inkers, you need to shake the ever-living daylights out of them because, the pigments settle again. So you need to shake them up just like how you would before you would re-ink. I could add just a drop. You want to make sure you add water to that. Because even though you can, you got that drop of beautiful concentrated color, whether it's dye, oxide, whatever. But if I was to paint straight from just re-inker, because it's liquid, and left it, for a lot of them, it will almost never dry, depending on what you're doing. If you're just painting with a straight re-inker, because re-inkers are meant not to dry out. Your ink pads don't dry out within reason. So you just have to make sure you're adding water to it and not just painting straight re-inker or very, very little water. Because yeah, you can, and I've tested it because it's like, oh, concentrated color, and I'll do like an entire wash background with distress re-inkers, and it's beautiful and vibrant, and 3 days later, it's still not dry, even if you try to heat set it, because there's additives in them to keep them from drying out. But yes, you can get a lot of color from a re-inker. They work great. With oxides, I generally use just the ink pads, because I'm not going to sit here and shake up each re-inker. Or I'll use, and I've done videos using the oxide spray stains. Those are fun to watercolor with because they're already in liquid form. You don't have to shake them as long as you have to shake a re-inker. And they're just fun. They're fun. And again, oxide, the spray stains, I've watercolored with those. Those I don't add as much water to because they're a different formula. Because some people are like, well, can't you just use re-inkers? It's different. So, yeah, watercoloring with the spray stains, whether Oxide or the distress spray stains, works great. Works great. It's fun. Same thing. Done a bunch of videos using them. It's fun. Okay. So for the greenery, we'll just do what I was doing. So just throwing on water. Not at all worried about where things are gonna go. Like even right here is technically a leaf. You can see it's, and it's layered. I'm gonna add a little bit, but I'm not. It doesn't need to be perfect. It does not need to be perfect. And then we're just gonna start throwing in some color here. We'll go like that. Just kind of let it do its thing. Paint on the color. Doop, 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 doop. And that's it. That's it. We don't need to stress about this. Don't need to worry about it. You just slap it on and move on. And another reason why like messy watercolor is one of my favorites is normally I can do this very quickly. Like slap that color on and move on. The only reason this is taking me so long is because I get distracted. I'm trying to explain everything under the sun, which is fine. But usually I can do this quite quick. Like a few minutes is all this would take me normally. But we're talking about watercolors and tarot cards and Stranger Things and whatever other randomness is popping up. It's fun. It's alive, man. It's alive. It's alive. We'll add some there. And then even this, I'll just kind of use my little brush and just kind of like, because I can. Why not? Why not? And then for these guys, because it's just a different shape of leaf, we'll mix the peel paint and the salvage patina together. It makes like the prettiest green. Oh, love it so much. There you go. Boop, 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 boop. Love. And then I can do the same thing with this one. We'll just do a little more of salvage patina, make this kind of more of a bluey shade, because again, we can do what we want, man. Drop in a little bit of that green just because I had it. And then go on to that guy. A little bit of water. Boop, boop. And a little bit of that. And a little bit of salvaged patina, because it's one of my favorite colors and it makes me happy. There we go. Burp. And that, my friends, is some very simple, messy watercolor. Can you remind me what ink you used to stamp flower? That was Nocturne ink. That one was listed in the supplies. Pretty sure. One of my most used ink pads. Okay. So I make sure my brushes have been cleaned off. I move the watercolor water. The forbidden water gets moved away from my elbow. You know what? We'll move him to the side for a minute so he can dry. Just so I don't make a huge mess. Take a bit of this. And we'll move that as well. Oh, I need a bigger boat.
Bigger boat?
I need a bigger boat.
Bigger boat?
Yeah. Okay. So, bring back my water. And then, I'm going to just add water to this. Kind of center him where he's going to go. And then just splatter a little bit of that onto, just to bring more of the other color, the worn lipstick, bring a little bit of that in there. Same with the peeled paint. Just a bit. Just a bit. Don't need much. And then I can do the same thing with what's left of this salvaged patina. Boop, boop, boop. Like that. Yep. Yep. Okay. Hope you're gonna feel better soon, Leah. Being sick sucks. Considering the crud's going around everywhere. We have so far managed to mostly avoid it, other than having a few days here and there just feeling cruddy. Okay. And then put the forbidden water away so I don't knock it over. That needs to dry. This needs to be wiped off. There we go. See? It's got just some extra little color on there. Like that. Doop, doop, doop. And then that I'll be actually getting out back out again in a second anyway. But let's blast him again with my heat tool to dry these little bits. In fact, that one ended up being a little pool of water. I can just... There we go. That works. That works. Yep. Okay, so we got that. We got this. This is still a little bit wet, not a lot, but it feels like cool on the back, so it's still a little bit wet. So I'm just gonna speed up the drying so I can die cut it. Little sprinkles? Yeah. It kind of does look like little sprinkles, doesn't it? It's very yummy. Again, don't lick the artwork. You know? There we go. And then I am here for this color combo. Tattered Rose. Here, I'll leave this out just because I didn't link the specific color just because y'all, it's just getting a little nuts with the amount of stuff. But yeah, these colors. Oh, thank you, Darcy. Thank you for the super chat. I very much appreciate it. So yeah, those. Ooh, that sound. That sound against glass. That's not a fun crafting sound. Anyway. So if anyone wants to take like a screenshot, those were the colors used to create. Oh, there you go. Tattered Rose, worn lipstick, peeled paint, salvaged patina to make that. Which, and then yeah, adding it, just that little extra. I don't know. I know. I like it too. It's oxides, man. You can have so much fun with them, and it's just been too long since I've used them, and I was like, let's. Have I labeled any of them? I did that one live stream weeks. It's been weeks. Have I finished labeling my dishwasher things? Heck no. Have I done any since then? No. Will I get to it? Yes. I don't know when. Went strawberry picking today. How nice for you. It's snowing and raining here. Enjoy your strawberries, your fresh picked strawberries. You obviously live in a much warmer climate. Funny. Okay. I have such a mess going on here. So, several of the Tim Holtz sets. Simon Says Stamp has like partnered with him and offers coordinating wafer dies. I link to the categories in the description box below because Tim Holtz has like hundreds of stamp sets over the years. And yeah, Simon started a couple years ago offering coordinating wafer dies to a lot of his sets, which is super nice. And I just need the one. I think it's this one. I think it's this one. For no, maybe not. Oh, it looks like it's this guy. It's this guy. So, like I've always said, especially sets like this, would I fussy cut this? Heck no. If I don't have to, I'm not gonna. I would much rather use a wafer die. So we're gonna line this guy up like so. And then my other sentiment, while I'm doing my die cutting, I lost my sentiment already. Good job, Amy. Good job. Good job. I'm so organized. What color? What color of pink? Those are kind of pink. I need a pink for my sentiment. Or coral. Coral! I also need therapy. Ooh, this'll work. Okay. Just Concord and Ninth Watermelon. I think that'll be nice. Yeah, I like that. I like that color. I'll do 2, 3. We'll see. So there we go. 'Cause normally I would do this. Like I would have had my sentiment all ready to go before we went live, you know, because who wants to sit and watch me die cut, let alone like glue things together? But I'm playing by the seat of my pants. So this is the Hey Girl old die set from Simon Says Stamp. And I just thought it was cute. So we're going to die cut those. Can I come help label? I mean, a round trip from the UK shouldn't take that long. No, it's only, however many hours of flying. Goodness. From here to the UK, that'd be what? A flight, because you do a flight. What's Toronto to the UK? That's what, 8 hours or longer?
It can be like, generally it's like 7-ish.
Well, let's just say roughly 8 plus then the 3.5. Only 12 hours of flying to get here. That's totally reasonable. Totally reasonable. Oh, I don't want to lose. There's a little. Is he in there? Oh, he's in there. Okay, we don't want to lose our little bits. Where's mine? There he is. But yeah. I don't mind the lead. Like I enjoy it. It's my thing is I don't have time. I did that one. Ooh, that's gonna be fun. I did that one live stream, just chatting with y'all while I was labeling, and that I plan on doing more. We can just hang out and chat. How on earth did I put this on here? I cut these to fit. It's funny sometimes how then it's like none of this is working. What is happening? I had it back. That's why. There we go. Amy's having issues. Tell me what else is new. We got that. We got this. Yep. No. Yep. But yeah, I genuinely enjoy. It's sort of mindless, like adding labels to main cuts. Like just do. I love it. Really, what I should probably do is haul them upstairs, and I could do that while I'm sitting and watching a show with the unpaid intern in the evenings. But again, that would mean just taking away ink pads, hauling them upstairs, hauling all the labels up, etc. Oh, and again, don't want to lose that little apostrophe or comma. It's a comma. not an embossing. Same thing, sort of. Okay, so we die cut, and like always, I like to have 2 to 3 layers for my sentiments, because dimension is life, as Laura Basson sings, and it's true. Coral, those Walking Dead memes. Look at me. Oh, I know. Every time you think coral, I'm like, coral. And that meme, that specific meme from The Walking Dead with, yeah, Carl, but it sounds like coral. Every time I say the word coral, that meme, front and center in my head. And it will probably be there for till the end of time, you know? It just, goodness. Doop. And okay, so we've got our little bits. We've got our die cut, fabulous. Oh, I love it. I love so much. Just the colors, the florals. You guys know I love me some large florals. And then I've got this. I got that. That. Because that was kind of my plan here, was to stick it like that. And then we're gonna have our sentiment. Let's stack our sentiment together so that it is completed. There we go. There we go. We'll keep those little commas for a second just off to the side so I do not ruin them. And then I'm gonna unclog my glue because guaranteed it's clogged because I never put the lid on it. This is why I keep pins off to the side. Go. There we go. Keep my pins off in, and I've shown this in many videos. Because yeah, people get very upset about glue clogging. Honestly, it's just happens. It doesn't bother me. Every applicator I've ever used, every type of glue I've ever used, and I've been doing this over 20 years, they've all clogged. 99% of the time because I don't put lids on things. I just can't be bothered. But I keep this little guy off to the side. One of my subscribers, Evelyn, made this for me many years ago. Like, goodness, 10 years ago? I don't even remember. Many years ago. She made me this little pin cushion. And he's coffee in there. She put coffee beans in the base of him. And he's still, after all these years, you can still smell the coffee. I love it. So he holds on my little pins that I use to unclog my glue. And he just sits beside me. He keeps me company in here. It's good times. So, there we go. It is. It's coming together. The randomness in my head is starting to translate. But we're still a little ways to go. Hopefully it, doesn't turn into an absolute hot mess. Although I'm usually at the bare minimum a hot mess getting to that point. Especially right now. I'm sweating. I always sweat during lives. I don't know why I get so stressed out about it. Like, again, I'm a professional. I've been doing this for a really long time. But I sweat. There we go. So then we stack these together because this creates dimension. There we go. Love it. So we got that. Yeah, he is. He's a crafty little guy. I love my little pin cushion. And yeah, he has sat on my desk since the day he arrived. And yeah, I keep all my little pins in there to unclog my glue because always my glue is clogged all the bloody time. Because at the end of the day, when I'm done work, do I put the lid on this? Nope. I just leave it sitting in the holder. And yeah, it clogs. I don't care. Doop, doop, doop. So there we go. There's layer number 3. So that just gives that extra that extra depth. Mari, you guys be careful on those roads. They are bad. Especially the closer you get to here. Like, we had rain, man. You guys should just stay up at the lake. Just stay up there where it's beautiful and serene and trees and deer. Dimension. Okay. Here we go. You shouldn't get stressed. We're not judging McJudge. Well, most of my audience, most of y'all are pretty awesome. Every once in a while, someone comes out of the woodwork. I'm not stressed because of like being judged. That doesn't faze me, y'all. I get stressed because I'm more like my, the intrusive part of my brain is constantly like, don't do it. Don't say it. Don't say something inappropriate. Don't drop the F-bomb. Don't, it's things like that. And then I sweat. Although really, that's probably something I should like build a habit of before I go live, is just go like yell into a pillow or something, like say every bad word I know just to get it out of my system so that I'm not like sweating while I'm live. I put a pin in my glue all the time, but it still clogs. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like it depends on so many different like factors, and it doesn't bother me. Like, because I say all this because I get asked a lot, like, well, does that glue clog? Like, does it clog? Does it clog? I get asked that one a lot, and I was like, yeah, they all do. They all do. I have yet to have a glue or an applicator that does not clog at some point in some way, and I just don't care because it's like, unclog it with a pin, move on. It's 2 seconds, and yeah. Okay, there we go. So, hey girl, hey. So got that, and then we've got this. Lovely. There is an outline, like there's an outline for this. I just didn't bother die cutting the outline because I just didn't want it for this. So I got that. I'm gonna leave the comma for a minute because the comma I'm just gonna adhere directly because why fiddle with a teeny little paste? And then I want a sub-sentiment for this, which I pulled out the CZ Love Easy Strips. Do I need white? I kind of want to do black. Yes. Yeah, they have both versions. Black printed on white. And then it's still black printed on white. It's just done in reverse. So, whatever. He's fine. And then with the easy strips, I've shown this in many videos, talked about live streams, etc. Easy Strips is a Simon Says stamp thing. They came out with the first set and die again whenever. I don't remember. There have been many variations since then, but they all work together. And there's a lot. If you search just easy strips in the Simon store, there's tons of different pre-printed ones like this, because they're pre-printed, and there's stamps, and then there's multiple die sets that is one wafer die. The rounded ones are my favorite, but there's the basic rectangles, there's angled ones, there's ones with little flag ends, and then there's these rounded ones. I think that's all of them thus far. Pretty sure. And then you can mix and match, and I love that. Susan, when I first read it, my brain went, you keep dropping your top on the floor. I was like, that's not the type of crafting we're doing, okay? And the unpaid intern wasn't paying attention either, because, yeah, he would have snickered. Anyway. But really, that's card making, spending how much time trying to find the thing that was on your desk or on the floor. That's card making. That's just what we have to deal with, Okay. So you just line it up, and then there we go. And then one pass in the die cut machine. And I'm just double checking again. Do I have it all lined up? Because sometimes, you know, when I'm eyeballing things, it's like, no. Yeah. My nephews always thought cussing was cool. My sister and the boys would get in the car and she allowed them to say all those words and it placated them so they never swore any other time. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah. Yep. I don't allow my kids to swear per se. More so with, you know, although when they're little and those first few times, it's hilarious. When they don't have the context, there's a great difference between, you know, parroting something they've overheard, which I swear a lot, so that, you know, and using it with intention. Although there have been times where the kids have used it with intention in a very creative way that it's like, okay, that's inappropriate, but I've had to like walk away, you know, to another room or to my closet and just howl. Actually, Chris and I have both done that many times over the years. Trying to keep a straight face when your kid has said something just massively inappropriate, but it was just like, a part of me's kind of impressed. Okay. Anyway. So now I've got all my little, so many sentiments. Boop, boop, boop. So I want to use that one on the inside, of course. And then I want to add, I kind of like that one. You are so loved. Hey, girl, you are so loved. And then I could do those two on the inside. So then I just take all these and I put it with the packaging. Because then the next time I go to use it, everything's die cut. You know? Convenient. I love it. And then I've missed where... Are these able to... Yes. Yes. Are these able to be foiled? Yes. These are printed with toner ink. So you can foil them with either a hot laminator or like a Mink or the Gina K Fuse and toner reactive foil, because there's glimmer foil for the hot foil machine and hot press plates, etc. But toner reactive foil, like Deco Foil makes toner reactive foil. I almost never foil these. Toner foil and like I have a Mink and a Fuse and everything. I need to play with it more. But you can. And a lot of people have done it and had amazing results. I get frustrated, man. But yeah, do I have a bunch of toner reactive foil in beautiful, pretty colors? Heck yes. Heck yes. So yes, you can foil these. And they do foil like beautifully because yeah, they're printed with toner foil. And this is a good heavyweight cardstock and you can run it through. And yeah. Okay. So we got this and we got all of this. And so now we need to start sort of building up this card. Okay. Where I had there it is. I was like, where'd my, oh, that's the one I want. That wasn't the one I want. I need my Big Mama foam tape. Okay. I need my Big Mama foam tape. Yes. Okay. And then yeah. I don't swear in my lives. Hardly ever. Because I'm a professional and it's all, and I built up a habit over all the years because it used to be back then. It still kind of is. The rules have changed, but to be advertiser friendly, you know, the type of language, yada, yada, yada. So over the years, I have built up a habit of not swearing in my videos and specifically in my lives. There have been times though where, you know, an F-bomb slips out, but I try not to. That said, I swear like a trooper in real life. Every single card I make includes many swears. You know, it just lots of love, but a lot of swears because it's how you get through the day. Here we go. My keeps wanting to swear, but hasn't learned the context for using them. Yeah. Sadly, my children learn the context like very early on in life. But yeah, okay. Okay. So, bit of Big Mama foam tape for a little bit of dimension. And then I can center that right like so. I've got that texture like that. And then my floral bit. Don't want to do it that way. I think I kind of want to do it like that. And then that also means we need to put a bit of foam tape behind this guy. And yeah, just avoid the very edges and right here. So what I do usually is I'll just kind of go like that with a pencil, just so I can see where I'm placing my foam tape, and it helps. I need a haircut. It's been too many years. Okay. Oh, I don't need that. So I'm gonna take some foam tape, stick a rather, stick some right there. And I think that's all we're really gonna need. And I can put a little smidge right there. Yep. Okay. 21 kids, 21 nonverbal. I'd give anything to hear him swear just once. Oh, my heart goes out to you. Like, yeah. Every once in a blue moon, those types of videos pop on my feed when, someone's kid, like, says something for the first time. And it just, ugh. Like, yeah, it is rough. It is so rough. Gonna go like that. Yep. Yes. So we've got that. And then I'm going to set my sentiments aside for a second. Because did you think I was done with the splatter? Of course not. Of course not. And this is getting cut off too, but we'll get to it. Got that. There have been studies on it being therapeutic. Yes, there have been. That and my anecdotal evidence. I've talked about this before in my previous life. I am a esthetician. I used to own a salon. And I used to do hair removal. And when you're, yanking hair out of someone's body, swearing helps. I would do it, but, the person actually, going through the painful process. And I used to have some that always felt so bad. They're like, I'm so sorry, when they would swear, call me names or whatever. And I was like, if it makes you feel better. And there were some I was like, try it. I was like, the next one, when I just yank off that hair, I was like, drop an F-bomb. And they would, and they're like, oh, that helps. I was like, there you go. It's like, we're in a safe space. You can say the words. Some of them were unbelievably creative. I had one that the things she would say and I would be cackling the entire time because it's like, man, loved it. Good times. especially because I was providing a service, causing people pain. I got to swear, they got to swear, then they'd give me money and a tip. Good times, man. Anywho, we're gonna add some black splatter because, you know, just a bit. Just a bit. Not a lot. I can be a little demure with the black splatter. You know? Like just a smidge. Where's my fan brush? So put a little bit of gouache on there. Gonna add a little bit of water to this to thin it out. Like so. Oh, I love George Carlin. Good times. George Carlin, and another one is, and I've talked about this in live, so it's one of my favorite stand-ups, was the one Robin Williams did in New York. I have that on DVD. And when he goes on and Robin Williams swearing like a trooper, but then his bit on like the invention of golf, gold. Absolute gold. Like, love it. Yeah. Okay. So I thinned it out, and now we're adding just a bit, not a ton, you know? Is there anything wrong with adding a ton? No. But I just want a little bit of black splatter on this. So I'm just doing gentle little tappy taps. You know, I'm not giving it a thwack like I normally do. If you want more splatter and larger blobs, you give it a good, you know, splatter with intention. But this is more just little tappy taps. As Adam Sound says, tap. Just a little tappy tap. Tap it in. Happy Gilmore, another favorite. Tina, that's hilarious. Yeah, one of my kids did that at a very young age, like 3, and it was in proper context. Like they were playing with a remote control car, and they ran it into a chair leg, and she went, F-bomb. And I howled. Because, like, they were, I think, roughly about 3 years old. Like, we used it in context. It was, and it was even more funny because there were relatives in the Norland apartment that were there at the time. And, like, one of them had to leave the room. They were so upset. And I was howling, you know? And they were little. It just was what it was. And they didn't do it again, you know? Because even though I was howling, but it was more internally, because you know that's all part of it too. If you you know give them the reaction they want, they're going to use that word again and again and again and again and again. So yeah, but yeah, there's our little bit of do. There was something about. Do you prefer? I'm not sure what you mean, MTO. Do you prefer splatter medium over gouache based on what you're splattering on? Honestly, when it comes to something like black splatter, white splatter, it just varies. I use all sorts of products because again, do I have a lot of different mediums to use for splatter? Yes. Do I need a bajillion options? No. One, I do it as a job, so you know, products get sent to me, and then I'm always curious. Like you know, something shows up in one of the crafty stores, and I'm like, add to cart. Can't help it. But yeah, like sometimes it's literally just based on like what brand I'm working with at the time or just my mood. Like I had knocked this over, so I grabbed it and I've used it a million times, the carbon black gouache. But yeah, especially with black. My favorites are this one, Simon's Pawsitively Saturated Black, Distress Black Soot Paint. Very, very good. Those are my 3 for black. Oh, and the Hero Arts. The Hero Arts black is the black speckle. We did a live with that not that long ago. I think it was one of my bonus lives like a week ago, a little over a week ago. That stuff's awesome too. But yeah, I jump around using all sorts of different products when it comes to splatter. And like you can use your inks, I splattered with oxides and distress inks and everything. Any craft paint works. Um, the only thing you have to remember with craft paint versus like distress paint, very pigmented. That's my favorite. And that's the only craft paint I actually have is distress paint. But with other brands, especially like cheaper brands of craft paint, the only thing you have to remember is a lot of times when you try to water it down, because depending on the viscosity of the paint, you can't really splatter properly with it. But some of them, when you try to water it down, they get weird looking, like because there's not enough color in it. But distress paints, they splatter wonderfully. Yeah, that's basically all I use distress paint for is splattering. Yeah, that's what we call it, a stroke, because every time you miss, you feel like you're gonna die. Yep. Robin Williams, golf bit, love it, absolutely love it. So yeah, we got that. And then I just gotta let some of that little big blob I got, he needs to dry. Most of the rest of this is already dry. Because especially with something like gouache, it goes matte. So I don't know if I can even show on camera. Will it show? You can kind of see it's a little bit shiny, that one big blob. So it always depends on the product. But after you've added water and you splattered, depending. If there's big blobs, set it aside. Let it dry. I'm just going to be aware of him so I don't hopefully, get my hand in it. And then I can adhere my sentiment to this. So it's going to go like so. And then already like starting to clog my glue again. So, oh yeah. Yeah, get the... There we go. That's another reason why my glue clogs like all the time. We are in a very dry climate and I'm in a garage with a big garage heater that runs and the airflow, all the things. So stuff just dries quickly. Okay. Get that. And center him like so. Like that. Yes, Altenew's Carbon Black gouache. My tube is very smushed. But yeah. Same one I've been using since I bought it a couple years ago now. I forget. Everything's just kind of a blur. It's been a long time with some of this stuff that I've had it and used it, and I lose track. Especially after I've uploaded however many thousand videos at this point. It's a lot. Doop. Okay. And then this sentiment, or the rest of the sentiment, we're gonna line up like that. And yes, there we go. So then, yes, the tittle is attached. We didn't lose him. When you say tittle without warning, it makes the unpaid intern blush. So funny. Okay, and then our little comma. I did not lose the pieces, which is kind of an accomplishment because most of the time, with all my chaos, these get flipped onto the floor and I'll never see them again. But I did not lose them. So, small little piece like this, I just like to adhere directly. It's faster and I don't have to, fiddle with a tiny little, oh my goodness, do I have a mess? A tiny little piece. Okay, it goes right above the, oh, perfect. So then, I just put a little little dab of glue. Right there. Don't need much. And then I can, yeah, it goes just like that. Like that. Yep. And then I can just do the second one carefully because the glue is still wet. Stack that guy and use my little die pick. There we go. Like so. Yes. And then, such a funny word. Yes. Yes. The dots on the eyes are called the tittles. There's a lot of specific verbiage with fonts, letters, and all the things. You know, there's counters and all of it. It's kind of interesting, and descenders and yeah. But yeah, tittle stuck with me. That one I learned from Laura Basson in one of her, you know, it was one of her little random fun facts, and I was like, that's funny. I like it. Okay. I did that. Oh, the little sub sentiment. That's what I wanted to add. The one that I die cut. Hey girl, you are so loved. Love it. I need a little where I already lost my. There it is. I was like, I lost my Big Mama foam tape. Okay. Need a little bit of that to add to this sentiment, like so. One tiny little bit. There we go. Learn from Kathy Zielski. Yes, Kathy Zielski is a very good teacher in all ways, but also with specific like fonts and stuff, because that is very much her forte. She, before I even like knew her like in real life, when she first started designing like stamps and stuff for Simon Says Stamp, that's what I noticed, because most of her sets are words, phrases, words, sentiments, fonts, and I was just like, oh, this person knows their like their font selection and the way they would, because I could tell the way that she had manipulated phrases to look a certain way. All of it, I was like, oh, I could spot that skill, and I was a big fan of her before I even got to know her. And now I'm her #1 fan. Okay, I am the queen of the Kathy Zielski fan club because she's fabulous. There we go. And yeah, this pack is by Kathy Zielski. So yeah, she does a lot of phrases and stuff too that I really like, especially the snarky ones. I am here for it. So we center that guy, or like lay him out exactly where I want him. And then I'll just hold him for a second so the glue can dry for a second. Making sure I did not. Yeah, I got distracted by the tittle. There we go. There we go. Lovely. Just lovely. Now, where's my card base? I lost it. There it is. Didn't lose it for long. Okay. So the card base, standard top folding A2 white note card. And on the inside, love ya. Here's a paper hug for you. Oh yeah, this'll finish off the inside. Real nice and real good. Unlike the others, I am not the greatest with words, man. I'm good with word vomit. Just, you know, it's another reason why I sweat, because it's just always that fear that I'm going to say something highly inappropriate. Okay, here's that one. And then I love snarky. Oh, me too. Snarky, like sarcasm. That is just who I am. I am sarcastic to a fault. It's yeah. Which has always just been whatever, but now having like a partner that is also on the spectrum and kids that are too, I have found that a lot of times I need to clarify that. You know, that I'm being sarcastic. I'm not being serious. I'm being sarcastic. Yeah, for me that's just default. Okay. So there's our inside. And then we're gonna adhere our card front to the outside. Hopefully this all. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep, yep, yep. Okay. So good. So put some glue on this guy. And because it's been embossed and the raised edge is what's going against the card base, this is where I'm going to use my magnets to hold down this piece. Thankfully, this emboss detail isn't super deep. A lot of times, if it is, I will usually trim it down a bit and adhere with foam tape because the foam gives you a better, kind of better coverage. But I'm just going to glue this directly to the card base, like so. There we go. There we go. Yes. Adhere it like so. And then this is where I use my magnets to hold it like that. I don't always show this in videos because it is what it is, but yeah, all my little magnets to hold everything down. There, and let that just sit for a minute. So while it's sitting, I can quickly start doing a little bit of cleanup because that's the one thing with the live streams. I just throw it while I do this always. It's just throw everything off to the side. It's like that's for later me to deal with. And then it sucks because then you have a big old mess to clean up. Okay. Put my foot in my mouth a few times. Oh, I put my foot in my mouth all the time. It's bad. And there have been times over the years where I have like fully offended people with my foot and mouth moments, but my intentions are always good. You know, it is what it is. Okay. I got my stamps. Got my little stamp and die set. Beautiful set. Yeah, I only used this one. These two are gorgeous as well. That other video that the unpaid intern linked to, I think I used all three for those cards. And just, yeah, I'm pretty sure I used all three. It was fun. Those are fun. Okay. And then, put the heart back so I don't lose it. And that one goes, I had it, and then I lost it. Oh, there it is. I'm glad you guys enjoy it. Okay. I think it's sat long enough. We got this. We're going to need to add some form of bling to this as well. Just not sure what yet. That little bit of glue. There we go. So I have all that. And then parts that are hanging off the edge, you flip it over and you just cut them off, which for whatever reason, it really upsets some people when I do this. However, if you don't want to cut off the little bits, that's fine. You just need a larger envelope, you know, or what have you. That said, it is just paper. And your eye naturally finishes off those sorts of things, you know. But yeah, People have gotten very upset with me over cutting off bits that hang off my cards. And I was like, dude, maybe I'm not the one to watch because I kind of do that a lot. Okay. We need some blingy bling, I think. And I'm thinking those might be just beyond perfect. Oh, maybe I want some pink ones too. Ooh, the pink ones too. Too many options, man. Let's do both. And I can link to these faster than the unpaid intern can. Because also I have the
You have the product code.
yeah, I've got the product. So I was like, I have the product code. Boop. Because we have some SE116, SE115. Bubblegum Positively Dazzling Gems and Peachy Positively Dazzling Gems. There we go. I will be editing the live stream like afterwards, so it'll be in the description box below. But for now, they're in the visual. You just have to refresh. Got those. And while I'm adding the bling, the on turn can pick a winner of the card. Yes, if you would be so kind. I'll put a few on this side. Just there we go. Keep you to each of your own sides. Is that peachy or pink? That's peachy. That's peachy. That's a peachy. There we go. Go over there. Go where you belong. Okay. So got those. And then I'm going to add just a few little bits of bling. Mixing the pink and the peach. Just because I can. And I'm going to add that one maybe. There we go. There we go. Yes. So, there it is. I was like, oh, I lost my. You don't make two of every card anymore? Oh, I make two of many cards. Just depends. I did 2 cards in each of the last videos I posted. Like the last 3 videos I posted were 2 cards. Although the last one was 2 different cards. The one before it, 2 slightly different cards, but not quite. Still similar. And then the one before that, 2 cards sort of similar. Just depends on my mood. So twirl that like so. And then I just need to let the glue dry. Yep. Yep. Just got that. And then let me put these away again before I knock this tray over, because that's always not fun. Dude, I already moved him. Get back where you belong. Stay right there. Okay. That's a peachy. Okay. Put him there. Put him there. There we go. And then lids on so that we do not have a huge mess. Put that guy away. Those I have to add. And then I can zoom in. There we go. There is our finished card with that little bit of stamping in the background. Very subtle. I can do subtle sometimes. But yeah, a little bit of stamping. That little bit of stenciling you can see, you know, just here and there. It's faint because of all the ink smushing, but it's there. And then very simple watercolor. Heat emboss resist, a little ink smushing, a little blending, etc. This was fun. I'm very glad the random idea in my head translated into a finished card. So let me switch over. There we go. Who am I going to be mailing this to?
Today's winner is Lisa from Missouri.
Lisa in Missouri. As always, I don't know when. I haven't mailed out the last couple winners. Yeah, I'll get to it. I always do. Sometimes it takes me a while to get out of my house and to actually mail. And it definitely will be a little bit with the weather we had and the state of the roads. I ain't going anywhere. But yeah, I will be mailing this out to the winner. I will, of course, take like the photos and do the social media, blog post, etc., like always. And then yeah, just stay tuned. As usual, I will have quite a bit of content coming this week. I have several videos planned for this week. No idea yet if I'll do any bonus live streams this week. It depends on everything, you know, just whatever's going on and all of the things. So yeah, I will try to give everyone as much of a heads up as I can if I do any bonus lives. And if not, I'll be live for sure again next Sunday, 2 p.m. Central. As always, I haven't set it up yet, but I set it up when I remember. When I remember. And yeah, I don't think I missed any other questions or anything. Pretty sure we're good. You gonna add the disembodied hand?
Oh, you missed it.
Oh, did you already do it and I just wasn't paying attention?
You were just
I was just zoned right out. Even though it's right in my, like, behind me, is right behind my face. Okay. Well, thank you to the disembodied hand that I totally just didn't even notice. Y'all, it's just, yeah. All the sweaty even now, I'm coming down. I'm coming down from the high of just having fun and it all. It's like, yeah, it turned out I didn't totally ruin it. That's also why I sweat sometimes when I don't have things planned out, which, let's be honest, it's 99% of the time with my lives. I like to plan. I just don't have the time, you know? But yeah, that's also why I sweat, because it's like, I don't want to waste other people's time and, you know, turn out a hot mess. But so far, for the most part, they do turn out. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I hope the rest of you have a good day, good week, all of it. And like I said, I got a bunch of content coming. Yeah, bunch of content coming, you know, pre-edited, shorter videos, all the things. And then, yeah, we'll see if I do any bonus live streams. I'm just not right this moment. It's always hard to look ahead because things are chaotic. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you all for hanging out with me and tuning in and all of the wonderful chat and comments and all of it. It's good. You guys you're all good eggs. And what else was that? I've never seen a hot mess. Oh, some of my cards are kind of a hot mess. There are cards I put out there that I'm just like, okay. It's funny. There are times where I'm just not feeling what I've made. You know, the translation from brain to card, it didn't work or whatever, but I still put it up, you know, because it's like I spent the time filming, you know, doing all the work. So it's like I put it out there. And the funny thing is, and this plays because I tell this to people, like, we are our own harshest critics. Because the amount of times over the years, because of the thousands of videos, the thousands of cards I've made, the amount of times where it's like, I'm just like, yeah. And I put it out there anyway, because I have a deadline, I don't have time, whatever. And those end up being like, everyone else loves it. I get so many positive comments and people are like, this is my favorite card that you've ever made. And I'm like, okay, I thought it was garbage. You know, we are very much our own harshest critics. And yeah, it's a lot of times, especially if you aren't feeling it, walk away, come back to it with fresh eyes. Not the easiest thing to do when you're live. You know, I can't just like get up, walk away, come back a couple hours later. That's not going to work. So I sweat. But yeah, it is what it is. And yeah, we all learn from watching you work through those cards too. Exactly. Sometimes it's very, not feeling it a little bit, and then you just kind of got to pivot, or you make a mistake, you smear something, or something doesn't work out, whatever, and then you got to work through it. And then other times, honestly, it's just paper. There are times where it's just like, if you were just, it is just causing you grief, and you've walked away, and it is just paper. Start again. It is what it is. It's not the end of the world, but yeah. And yeah, Luis, that's why I do what I do. To try and kind of explain what's going on in here. Which isn't easy either, and also why I sweat. Because I've been doing this for a lot of years. And the pictures and the things it's a jumbled mess with 5 million, bouncing off constantly. So it's like trying to, and it's like, this is why I choose to do this, or this is why I chose this. And then sometimes there isn't really an explanation. I was like, I was just feeling it. Just vibes. We are just going on vibes. That happens too. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I do try to explain it as clearly as possible. Sometimes I just, sometimes, you never know. But I appreciate you guys. Put my little paintbrushes away before I wreck them. I'm going to clean up my mess, take my photos, like I do. And yeah, just stay tuned. Yeah. More content, fun things, all of it. I right this exact moment, I'm going to have a nap maybe in a little bit. A nap and maybe a snack. Maybe a snacky snack. That usually helps too. I think that's part of why I just feel like, ugh. But I think it's just, I just need a snacky snack. Maybe lay down for 15 minutes and I'll probably feel perfectly fine. And then, yeah, I'll take photos. I love all that texture. This was fun. And yeah, I've got more videos coming using like Tim Holtz and Simon Says Stamp Dies and things, because I did a couple videos, and then last week's live stream using other sets, and I just opened that up again, and then my brain started going, and I need more hours in the day. So this was a lot of fun. And yeah, I think a lot of us get stuck in our heads. It can be a slog sometimes, it just is what it is. But I'm glad y'all enjoyed it. And yeah, snacks, man. Snacks are always a good idea. And then supper, which we're getting close to that time too. So food is always good. But I am going to go. I will talk to you all later. See y'all in the next video. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in joining my Patreon community and supporting me, the link to my Patreon is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't, I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye!